In Module 8, we're going to start talking about sequences. Sequences are very important in Python. The simplest form of a sequence in Python is a list, and then we also have tuples. We will talk about both. Lists are very powerful in Python. Lists can contain many data items, and a list contains items that are related to each other, and lists are mutable, which means that their contents can be changed while the program is running. And lists are very dynamic. You can add items to them. You can remove items to them as the program is executing. There are also many built-in functions that come with lists that help to make things easier for you, make it easier for you to manipulate the list. We will talk about the differences between lists and Python's, between lists and tuples, in the next video following this one. So let's go ahead and start talking about lists. This is your most basic list right here, which is sales list. And what sales list does is, sales list is a very simple function. The purpose of this function is to gather sales for a certain number of days. Okay, so we need to create a list to hold the sales for each day, and we need to gather the sales for 5 days. Here we have num days, which is a numeric constant, which is set to 5 because we want to gather the sales for 5 days. Okay, this is the way we declare sales to be a list. Sales is equal to 0 multiplied by num days. 0 in square brackets tells your interpreter that this is a list item. And multiplied, the multiply is the repetition operator in a list. And num days, which means repeat this 5 times. So you're going to write 0 5 times. The list is populated with 5 zeros. Index is equal to 0, which is some variable to manage the loop. While index is less than num days, we know from loops, since this is set to 0, we have to use the less than operator. We say print day number index plus 1. So day number 1, separator is space and the end is space. Sales subscript index, the list, which is sales, with the subscript of index. So index is 0, so the 0th item in the list. That's what we print. That's what we are referring to. Sales subscript index, the 0th item in the list. You can imagine the list to be like a single column table with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 as the indices that refer to each item in the table. And the 0th item in the index gets the input that the user is entering. Whatever the user is entering is going to go into sales subscript index. Index goes up to index plus 1. You go back up, index is 1. While 1 is less than 5, it is. We're going to go ahead and print something out. And then into sales subscript 1, we're going to take the next input. And then once we have populated the whole list with our 5 values, then we want to print out the list. We say for value in sales, print value. As long as we print all of the values in the list sales, as long as there is a value to print in sales, print out that value. For value in sales, this is very important, in the sequence called sales, which is a list, if there is a value, print the value. So when we run the module, this is the way it's going to run. Okay. Enter the sales for each day. Day 1, you have 200 in sales. So now this was printed out. Enter the sales for day 1. Okay. And end is equal to blank means once this print statement is done, the cursor sits right here waiting for the next input. Okay. Day 2, the sales on day 2 are 102.30. Sales on day 3 are 1001.25. Okay, sales on day 4 are 11.25, a really bad day. Sales on day 5 is 13.65. Okay, so now these are the values that have gone into the list. Value number 200 has gone into sales subscript 0, which is a list of 5 values. Value 102.30 has gone into sales subscript 1, subscript 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so once these values are entered, once I've entered them all, they're going to get printed out. And here are the values we entered. Now it says for value in sales, print value. This is coming out of subscript 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is a basic definition of lists. Now, when we talk about lists, we have various different functions that we can use in lists. We have various different built-in functions. So let's look at one of them, which is list append. You can append to an existing list. And I'm just going to arrange this. So append means you, just like we learned in files, there is a list and you add on to it. Name list is equal to open, close, square, brackets. That's an empty list. Okay. While again dot upper is a built-in function that converts the input to uppercase, is equal to y. Name is equal to input, enter a name. Name list dot append name, which means whatever name was entered, you append it onto the name list. Okay, so the first name that's going to get entered is going to go into name list subscript 0. The next one is going to go into name list subscript 1 and 2 and so on. And here are the names you entered. Okay, so let's see how we run this program. Enter a name. I say Joe. Do you want to enter another name? Yes. Okay, enter a name, Jane. Do you want to enter another name? Yes. Tarzan. Okay. Do you want to enter another name? N. Okay. Here are the names you entered. Joe, Jane, Tarzan. And this is how they're stored. The first name that you entered, Joe, went into list subscript 0. The next name that you entered, Jane, went into list subscript 1. And the third name that you entered, Tarzan, went into list subscript 2. Okay, so this is how we append to an existing list. We'll continue with lists in the next video.